How are you? How are you doing? I hope I've got no lipstick on my teeth. How are you all doing? Okay, so today we are talking about why he likes you but won't commit. Oh man, I tell you what, trying to get these phones to align on both platforms is nightmarish. Let's see, I'm gonna make sure I'm looking at both of you at the same time. Darlings, how are you? Oh, now you can see the other phone. Oh man. Oh well, let's see if we can work with this. I think we can. Just a little nudge here. Then we might. Okay. How are you? Thank you, Nadine. I actually meant to. I bought these two lip glosses today that I mixed together. That I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, man, these are bright lips. Hello, everyone. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. Let's get into it, and then we can do some Q&A after. How do you all feel about that? I hate it when you get lipstick on your teeth. Okay, let me know if you see lipstick on my teeth. All right. So this is for the girl who, my team said to me, Chengi, we really need to help the girls out when it comes to getting commitment, because all the phone calls we're getting in are girls who just are having their time wasted. They are meeting guys, there's a lot of chaos. But the very thing all the women want is marriage, and it's the one thing that they're struggling with. So we're gonna do some commitment work, okay? Mainly for the most part, when the live's here, when I stop doing this live, I'm creating a whole series that will help you get the commitment that you need, and that's gonna be running on my YouTube channel. But for now, I'm just gonna give you what I truly believe is crucial information for you to know right now in this moment, especially for the girls who are experiencing chaos in their relationships. They're not getting that leadership, they're not getting momentum. There's, you know in your heart, I mean, we're all somewhat delusional, but you know in your heart that he truly has feelings for you. You kind of feel it. You feel like this guy really has feelings for me, but for some reason it's kind of going nowhere. Okay. And maybe your friends and your family, and you've read, and it's like, if he really cared, he would. If he really wanted to, he would. But deep down inside, there's something about you, there's something about this connection that makes you believe that it's not that he doesn't want to, it's that he cannot. Thank you. Today was content day, and when it's content day, I wear a lot of makeup. I just wear layers and layers of it. But thank you so much. So you feel like you are, there's something missing, and even if you try to pull away, he comes for you. If you try and end it, he doesn't let you go. It's this horrible feeling where you're kind of thinking, dude, make up your mind. Like, just okay. So why does that happen? Why does it happen that a man really likes you? Genuinely, you look into his eyes, you know it's not game. He really likes you. Hey, Shantae. But is having a hard time. Let's see what's happening. Okay, great. We've got everyone on YouTube and some people here on Instagram. So here's what's happening. Number one of the things that we don't understand as women about men is women commit at the right time for them. Okay, men commit in the right conditions. All right, so we think, okay, I'm of age, I want a relationship, so I'm gonna go off and find a boyfriend. Okay, I'm gonna go off and find a man, and hopefully we'll get together, have this big love affair, and get married, right? But men don't think that way. They don't think I'm of age or I have come to a certain place. Men think about their conditions, okay? they think about readiness. A man can really feel you. He could be even in love with you. You could be like his dream come true girl. But if his life is not ready, if his mind is not ready, if his spirit is not ready, he's not going to commit to you. Okay. And this is why, okay, I teach the girls in my Soulmate Lux to understand, and I spoke about this on Wednesday, to understand the stages of life a man is in. When we are getting ready for commitment and dating for commitment, you are wasting your time if you don't know the stage of life a man is in. It's so important because depending on the stage a man is in, okay, determines the outcome of that relationship. With us as girls, it doesn't matter what stage we're in. We're relationally wired. We will always make room for a relationship. We will always switch plans for a relationship because feminine energy is relational energy. It focuses on relationship, and masculine energy focuses on things and acquisition and material things and getting things, right? Is that hunter and we're gatherers, right? The women are gatherers. We pick berries and the men are hunters, okay? They go get things. And so men are not naturally wired to prioritize relationship. That is a feminine priority, okay? A man will only think relationship when he is ready. Ready in what way? He is ready because he has experienced all the things. Men value freedom. We value closeness, okay? Masculine energy values freedom. So if he's not ready to surrender his freedom, he's not going to marry you. How do you know? That means he's at the first stage of life. The men who are at the first stage of life will not compromise their freedom for anyone or anything at any point at any time. Okay. Stage one, which no, I'm not going to go into it on here because there's a whole 2 hour, 3 hour teaching I have in the house, in the Soulmate Lux for the girls who are committed to take the journey. Okay. But I'm just going to say, if a man is at a stage in his life where he's still exploring and and that man can be at that stage in his life all the way up to 100. He could be 0 to 100 years old, but is in a stage in his life, stuck in a stage in his life where he just wants freedom. He wants the concept of freedom. He wants to do what he likes, doesn't want to feel cornered in. And he hasn't developed into the other stages that a man naturally goes through. He will not marry you. He will not commit to you. You will not be his girlfriend. End of story. There's nothing we can say. There's nothing we're going to do about it. It is what it is. You're going to sit there and be in a long-term, time-wasting relationship. And some men won't even cheat on you. They won't even, very few. They won't cheat on you. They won't even step out on you. They're just not going to commit. Like, you're not getting that ring, not now, not ever. Right? So you have to be able to assess the stage of life. So is he ready to surrender his freedom? Number one, or his sense of freedom, or his perceived sense of freedom. Okay, because a really truly feminine woman doesn't threaten a man's freedom. And that's something else I'm going to talk about maybe in another video, why men don't commit. If you threaten their freedom, if you are the girl who's anxiously attached, wants to know where he is, what he's doing, when he's doing it, da 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 da, if you're that girl and you threaten a man's freedom, he doesn't feel safe and he's not going to commit to you. Okay, so we got the issue of freedom. He's not ready to take responsibility. So he's not ready to be mature. He's not ready to take responsibility, because commitment for men is taking on responsibility. Commitment for women is getting more from a man, right? When we want commitment, what we're really saying is, I want more. I want more love, more attention, more resources. I want more hugs, more kisses, more sex, whatever it is. We're saying we want more permanently, okay? But we're not the ones who are giving more. We're not the investors. We're not the ones investing effort, time, money. We're not the ones, right? Of course we want a relationship. Of course we crave a relationship, because relationships that are healthy, okay, are always going to give, right? If you're in a relationship with a masculine man who is healthy and mature, he's gonna be giving. So of course we we crave it. We're like, oh, give me, because feminine energy likes to receive, okay? But to the man, he's got these limited resources, and he has to choose the best possible partner to invest those resources in. And if he doesn't feel he has enough resources to keep giving, if he doesn't have the emotional resources to keep giving, if he doesn't have the time resources, if he doesn't have the financial resources to take responsibility for the relationship, he is never going to commit. Okay, he can love you, he can care about you. Hey Shivani, he can think the world of you. Okay, but he will not, okay, and I repeat, he will not commit to you. So you've got to understand whether a man is in a position, okay, thank you, my darling, whether he's in a position to be responsible or not. So some of us who like guys who we well and know these boys, they got no money, got no job, no direction. He's a wanderer. He doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. You can forget. You can forget. Thank you, Shivani. You can forget, and I mean forget, anything to do with commitment. You're wasting your time. It's not that he doesn't like you. You have to understand that a man's attraction to you is not attached to his selection of you, his commitment to you. They're two very different things in a man's mind, because men's minds are compartmentalized. Okay, with us, when we have high attraction to a man, we make him automatically compatible even if he's not, right? So when you have this high attraction and you have a high sexual attraction, because sexual attraction is really rare for us as women, we're not sexually attracted to every single man that we see, whereas most men are attracted to most women that they see, right? Because the attraction works differently from ours. So when you do find that guy that makes your knickers wet and makes you sweat and makes you lose your breath, okay, when you meet that guy, your brain tells you he's compatible. Your mother nature, our nervous system, everything tricks us into believing he's compatible. So when we are dealing with men, we think they're like women. We think that for them, attraction, deep attraction that they have towards us equals compatibility. So just because he likes to spend time with you and sleep with you and get, be in your company and feel that physical energy with you, you can think, but why isn't he committing though? Like, he likes to be here, he likes to spend time, because he hasn't, to him it's not the same thing. Okay, he still isn't ready. He's not ready. Okay, he enjoys the benefits, but he's not ready. So every woman who is relationship ready, focused on getting married, wants the perfect love story, you have to make sure when you are dating a man that he is ready, that his life is ready. He has a home that he lives in. It doesn't have to be a mansion. It has to be a home. He's not living with his parents. He's holding his life together. He is responsible for his life and is being very responsible. You have to know that he can take care of himself adequately and competently. If he cannot even take care of himself, he's not taking you on. Okay, you have to see if he's a man who is comfortable with responsibility. Does he take responsibility for things beyond himself? Does he take time to be responsible for his younger siblings? Does he take responsibility for his dog? Does he take responsibility in his family? You have to assess whether a man is ready. This is so key. So many of us don't know that because we think attraction equals readiness, right? His attraction to you does not mean anything when it comes to his readiness, right? Please, girls, I need you to get that in your head, all right? So if you are one of my girly whirlies that's in the DMs talking to me and crying over this guy and the confusion and the chaos, I can guarantee you did not assess readiness. Readiness is key. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Another thing that we do, because we don't know any better and we don't know how to date, okay, is as women, we don't know, even men are terrible at this as well, okay, but I'm talking to the girls, okay. And I say this over and over and over, and I'm always yelling and screaming about it, but I feel like sometimes I'm in this echo chamber where I'm just screaming and nobody can hear me. Dynamics. How you start a thing sets in motion a set of dynamics. And once those dynamics are set in motion, to change them back or to to reshuffle them and to get a new energy going is like, usually is rare. Usually we have to end the dynamic in motion. If I get people who are married and they've set in motion a toxic dynamic, sometimes I have to advise them to separate for a season so we can reset the dynamic completely. Okay, happens to couples in marriage. Anyone that I meet, whether we are in the group or one-to-one, whatever, once you set the dynamic in motion that you are cool with casual, okay, girls, once you set in motion with a man when you're dating him that you're cool with casual, he will put you in a compartment in his compartmentalized brain and lock you in there, and you will never come out. Okay, and so some of us who date wrong, we date thinking, let's just have fun, let's just enjoy the vibes, let's just, I don't want to put pressure on him, I don't want to run him off, I don't want to. You got yourself into a dynamic that is casual, okay? You have maybe jumped into the physical too quickly because you know, you're trying to be cool. You've kind of allowed, you've not set boundaries, you haven't really set a standard, because the boundaries a woman sets with a man that lets him know she's not about that casual life. You don't have to go and announce that, listen, if you're not intentional, I don't want anything to do with you. That's low value, okay? That's hood, okay? We don't do ghetto. We're sophisticated women here, okay? So if you don't have to make announcements, men know by the boundaries you're setting, the standards you're setting, that you're not on it. You're not on that type of time, okay? Because men are always going to test you. Always. Always. I don't care whether you like it. I don't care whether it's something that, I don't care how you feel about it. I don't make the rules, okay? Men will test you. They're going to test your value. They're going to test your standards. They're going to test you. And it's so natural to them. They're not thinking, right, I'm going to test her. It is nature. It is biology. Women test men all the time. We don't even realize when we're doing it. We don't even realize when we're putting men to the test. So stop being children. Like, I've got a reel on here on my Instagram, and I'm like, this is the ways that men test women. And the girls, and they're like, I don't like no man is gonna test me. Grow up. Like, grow up, okay? If you can't grow up, go and find somebody else on the interweb who's going to tell you what you want to hear, okay? Because we do grown women things here. We're grown ass women, okay? We're grown. And I don't want to lie to you. Men will test you. And they're going to test your value. How are they going to do that? They're going to offer you something that most women would say no to. They're going to test to see how you respond. Are you going to be offended? Or are you going to set a high standard, a high quality value? He's going to test to see whether or not you will sleep with him. He wants to see how quickly you sleep with him. He might even invite you over to his for dinner so he can cook you something, okay? That's a test, okay? Now, if you come out of the gates with, you men just want to sleep with me, okay, you failed the test, okay? You're just going to be put in, she's too much trouble, in that box, lock you in there, okay? But if you really want to pass that test, then you set a standard and a boundary. I don't meet men. I don't go to men's houses that I don't know. I feel more comfortable somewhere public. Thank you for inviting me. That's how you set a standard. And then he thinks, okay, she can communicate, she can handle conflict, she doesn't lose her rag, and she definitely isn't the type of woman to just jump into bed with a man. He's going to get all of that data from your ability to set standards like a high value woman, like a feminine woman. Okay, thank you so much for inviting me. It's so sweet. And as tempting as it is, I don't meet up with men in quiet corners. Okay, when he's texting you, he wants to know, is she gonna get dirty with me via text? Are you gonna yell at him, scream, shout? Okay. Or are you gonna set a standard? You're gonna set a boundary. So this is how you need to learn in the very beginning stages. A lot of relationships, a lot of connections go terribly wrong, okay? In the beginning, in the first hour of meeting somebody, you set the tone. The first 15 seconds of meeting somebody, you set the tone. You let that man know immediately, just by your posture, your responses, your vocabulary, the way you carry yourself, you let him know what category you're in, okay? Because men don't, when we say men put you in categories, I want you to understand that they're not walking around doing she's in category casual, she's in category C. That's not how it's working out. You put yourself in the category. So I'm talking to one of my guy friends, and he's a really high value guy. He does really well for himself, very, very handsome, all the things, okay? And he was telling me about the girls that he was dating, and he was telling me about the date he had. He's like, I've got a date tonight with this girl. She's a very beautiful girl. He sent me the picture and all the things, because my guy friends always run these things by me. Can I get an amen? Okay. And he sent me the pictures. Very, very pretty girl. And he said to me, well, we'll see what category she puts herself in. Okay. So what he knows for sure is that she's beautiful. What he knows for sure is that she's going to go on a date with him. What she knows for sure is that he's interested. But what he doesn't yet know is what category she wants to be in. And he's going to get all of that from her. How she shows up on the date, how she conducts herself, the conversations she has, the boundaries she sets with him, the standards she makes clear to him, the way she communicates to him. All of that data, he doesn't have any of that data until she responds to him, right? And so that's what I mean is, even in the texting phase, even in the early dating, if you get early dating right, girls, if you get early dating right, you set in motion a dynamic of respect. The man begins to respect you. Once a man respects the way you move, once he has a respect about the way you show up in the world, you're not reactionary. He could say red pill crap to you and you're just like, oh, I see. Mm-hmm. If that's what you think. Oh, I see. Right? Instead of, nah, man, because you men, if you're that girl, sweetie, no. Okay. I'm just letting you know. Okay. I know that as women, we celebrate foolishness. Okay. We see women who do with men, okay, and we're like, yeah, girl, tell him, yeah, she laid it out for him. Sweetheart, unless you want to be married to a woman, okay, unless you're a woman that likes to be with women, forget all that, right? Forget all that. Am I gonna come across like a pick-me? Forget all that. Even if every woman in the world let me tell you something, for free, you can call me a pick-me all day, every day. Listen, I won't even lose sleep over what anybody calls me. I don't care. I don't care. I will be a pick-me for the right guy who's picking me and who I'm choosing and selecting. Okay, I will be his pick-me. And guess what? He'll be my simp. Okay. My man will be my simp and I'll be his pick-me. And the simp and the pick-me will get on just fine. Why? Because all of those titles are to shame us into being high value. All of those titles are to shame us. Okay, I'm just letting you know. So if you're one of those women who cares what other women call it, you're a fool. Okay, I said it. You're a fool. If you care about other women clapping for you and saying, girl, you tell him, girl. Okay, go tell him. You're a fool. You're a fool. Your mama birthed a fool. Okay? Mama Swans, must be the bob. What are you thinking of the bob, girls? It's a bob. It's the bob. It's giving me... You're a fool. If you care what your friends think about your man, you're a fool. If you care about what people say about you, you're a fool. You're a fool that will die lonely, and unless you choose singleness for life, which is a valid choice. Let me just say that out loud. It's valid to be single as a choice. It's a fantastic choice. Paul tells us we should choose it, in fact, right? But if it's a man that you want and a quality one at that, okay, forget what's on the internet. Forget it. Forget all that clap back and talk back. Here is where I teach you how to be wives. Here's where I teach you how to get chosen, okay? It's just what it is. And I am telling you, you can record this, screenshot it. When you're all tired and you're all sober from the friggin' foolishness you're picking up from the internet, okay, and you're genuinely ready to build a life because you realize that everybody was telling you lies, I'm gonna be still here telling you the truth, okay? Because if you wanna win with men, because my girls win with men. My girls go on dates, third date, second date, the man wants to marry her. So that's what happens in the Black Swan world. That's just the truth. That's what happens to my girls. Men want to commit to my girls. They're not having a hard time finding good, wealthy, successful men. They're not. The rest of you who are so busy trying not to be pick me, so that your girls won't say she's a pick me, be a pick me. Be a pick me and build your life as a pick me and be a happy girl. Okay? Forget that nonsense. So set the dynamic in motion where a man knows this is a woman who values herself. This is a woman who respects herself. This is a woman who will walk away from any type of disrespect. You have to have that internal wiring. If you set that dynamic in the beginning, okay? If you set that dynamic in the beginning, he will never see you as casual. He will either have to go or he will have to commit. It's that simple. And men know. They're so intuitive. So if you're with a guy and he really likes you, but he's not committing, it's because you gave him the impression by the way that you behave, by the way that you talk, by the way that you move, unknowingly, okay? Because if you knew, you probably would do better. If we know better, we do better. But unknowingly, you set a dynamic in motion, and it is almost impossible for that man to take you out of that box, because chances are he's already got a woman that he is talking to seriously. If he is a man who is ready, relationship ready, life ready, emotionally ready, and you allowed a dynamic to be in motion that was casual, there is a woman he is speaking to seriously. A woman who doesn't play those games. A woman that knows her value and knows her worth. A woman who doesn't listen to the internet, okay? A woman who doesn't take advice from weirdos. He's taking her seriously, okay? So that's why. The only way you're gonna fix that is if you end the dynamic, especially on your own terms, in a high value way. Give it time, 30 days, 60 days, for the clock to reset. And then you can either re-engage him or he will re-engage you if you are quality. But those days, those 30 to 60 days, you better be working your butt off you better be in Soulmate Lux, okay? You better be in that group, doing all the courses in there, growing, evolving, so that when you do re-engage with him or he re-engages with you, you set in a new dynamic. Even if he hasn't changed, you've changed. Okay, that's the only way you're gonna shift it from he likes me but he's not committing, but his life is ready for a wife, but he's not choosing me. End it, reset the dynamic, and then you can re-engage. Between 30 to 60 days, even if he's with somebody that he met in that time, he won't be solid. Men take about 3 months to really get that connection, that emotional connection. So you don't have to worry. Some of us are worried. Like we worry. 2 weeks later, we're worried, has he moved on? Men don't move on emotionally like that. They move on sexually. Okay, you gotta understand. So that's the only way you're gonna break that dynamic. Third, but not least, only because I don't have all day to be here and I want to give you an opportunity to ask questions. You haven't caught me on live stream, you have today. Yay. He doesn't feel the emotional, you haven't built emotional attraction. Okay, women are really crap at this, by the way, because we think men are just these emotional beings and they don't help themselves, let's be honest. They go around hunting for sex and just creating chaos. And so we just think of them as men who don't have emotions. It's almost like, he's got emotions? It's like crazy. But men are very emotional. And they won't commit to you if they don't have enough of a strong emotion. Now, the men who will commit without a strong emotion are often men who are emotionally unavailable, they've got emotional problems, and they just want to please their families, or they're on the down low and they just need somebody to fill the space so they can have a beard or whatever. But the average guy who commits needs to feel a strong emotional connection to you. And it's not the same feeling we have as girls where our bodies are like, oh my God, I love him. I love him, right? It's not the way we bond. It's a bonding way he feels deeply emotionally safe with you. You know, he feels he can share anything with you and it'll be safe. And that is not given to him through your words. You don't, I think a lot of us, you can tell me anything. Your secrets are safe with me. You can tell me anything. It's never going to work, right? He has to see how you conduct yourself around other people. Do you keep other people's secrets? Do you talk about other people? Are you a vault when it comes to your friends, or do you talk them? He has to see how you move in the world to feel like you're a safe person, okay? He will test you in the early beginning by giving you something that matters to him but not enough for you to break him, and he will see how you handle that. Do you shame him? Do you withdraw yourself? Do you punish him? If he was to share something a little bit vulnerable, and if it's super vulnerable, so I had a client message me today and she was on a date with this fine man, okay, good looking, tall, the thing, all the things, fine. Did I say fine? Is fine. Yeah. Okay, so she goes on a date with this guy and he says to her, if a guy were bisexual, would you date him? Would you date him, or would you, what would be your situation? And she was like, well, I did one before, but I didn't know he was, and I found out later, and that just didn't work for me. And he said, yeah, but what if you know that he is? Would you date him? And she was like, but are you trying to tell me that you are, like, trying to what's happening, trying to confess something? And he was like, no, it's a friend. Now, we don't know if it's a friend, we don't know whether it's him, probably him, but men will test you like that. They will give you a scenario like that to see how do you handle that. Now, I don't think that this guy was particularly interested in the truth, but he was interested in how she handled that case, that scenario, right? Would she be gracious? Would she be open? So for her, she was like, I honestly don't care who you choose to be with, who a person chooses to be with. And, I think, everyone's got every right. My cousin is gay. Her particular cousin is gay. And I've dated a guy before. It's just not something that would work for me, okay? And he was okay with that response. He said he wasn't, but I know that he was testing her, okay? So, so basic, somebody just asked how to spot a bisexual man. Okay, I'll answer that after I'm finished with this. I'll come back to that. It's so funny because it's something we're going to be discussing in Soulmate Lux on Monday, because somebody brought that up. But the key here is, when a man presents you with those sort of scenarios and those sort of situations, and he feels like you're truly safe, that you're going to handle his heart with care, men really want a safe place to park their heart. Are you a safe person? If you're somebody that gets triggered, if you're somebody who's emotional, who's a bit dodge, um, he cannot build that emotional connection with you, and that will stop him from making that commitment. Even though he likes you, he doesn't feel like you can hold all of him. You can hold his darkness and his light. And a lot of women don't end up with a commitment that they want because the man can only be a white knight in your life. Like, you're so in love with a white knight that you don't have room for the dark knight. You don't have room for parts of him that maybe he still struggles with. And that doesn't have to do with sexuality. It could do with anything. It could be even something that it's not particularly a problem. Can you handle any corn addiction that he might have, or corn struggles he might have? Men and women, we all carry darkness. We all carry parts of ourselves that we carry shame around, and we guilt around, and until we work through those things. And for many of us, even watching this, maybe those dark places are even the blocks to why you can't find love. I'm on calls with women all the time, and they're carrying this shame story, okay? And that shame story is stopping them from finding love, right? Men are no different, but men know that as women, we have this mindset where we need them to lie to us. Like, we won't accept anything but the white knight, right? And so many of us, for that reason alone, our incapacity to really dig deep and ask, could I love him if I knew this to be true about him? Right? And this is, one of the things I'm discussing with the girls in the Soulmate Lux. I'm gonna end that there for today. I'll be back probably next week or whenever. I'll announce it. A lot of girls are like, let's go back to the question, how do you spot if somebody is bisexual? Let's have this conversation. The men that are bisexual have a hard time with the rejection that many of us offer. So they won't tell us the truth. And that's sad, because nobody, then you get duped and then you don't know, right? I think that we all need to have like real conversations, because I don't know if I should break this to you, but most men have experimented with each other when they were young. Okay, it was just boys playing and experimenting. Some liked it a little too much and never quite could leave. Some have trauma that has kept them, indulging, and some kind of realize it's not really for them. They just had, but a lot of male sexuality is very different from female sexuality, right? And I teach about that in Soulmate Lux. I teach about male sexuality in there, so you really have an in-depth understanding of how male sexuality works. But I think as women, we have to really kind of have real heartfelt conversations with ourselves about male sexuality, and the fact that most of us are going to date bisexual men. And it doesn't make them bad husband material. I know, it's scary, right? But they are capable of being monogamous. They're capable of being loyal in relationships. I know. Who knew, eh? They're capable of being loyal and monogamous and faithful to you, right? It's a choice we each have to make, but I think we all have to really kind of ask ourselves deeper questions like, do I have capacity to hold a man completely? Because if you don't have capacity, you don't dig, right? Dig. Dig within your own soul, confront your own prejudices, deal with stuff. Because I remember a guy friend of mine asking me a question. He was like, Chengi, would you rather I told you that from time to time I would step out with other women, or just lie to you? And I remember saying to him, lie to me, boy, just lie to me, as long as I never find out, you know. And we went into it for a very long time. And I thought to myself, women are always saying, you know, I want a man that's honest, that's going to tell me the truth. And I'm one of those women. So I just need your honesty. I can take the truth. But when I was asked that question, I was like, lie to me. And I think there's such depth in men knowing that as women. We would rather they lied to us, acted the right way. And we are almost our own problem because we cannot hold a man, right? A man is more than provision, protection, cherishing. He's more than romance and flowers. He's also complicated, and he's also deep. And I can tell you this because I work with men, and albeit I work with more women than men, because the men that I work with are by referral. I get to hear the dark side of men. And I'm talking about pastors, I'm talking about regular guys, I'm talking about Muslim men, I'm talking about Christian men. I get to be, I feel honored. And one of the guys was like, I don't know what it is about you, Chengi. You're the only woman who a man can really feel like he can just and be unjudged. I thank God, because I know that's a grace and an anointing on my life. But I get to hear men's real hearts. And I've got to be honest, many women can't hold a man. And can you imagine living a life where you always have to pretend to be just half of you, because only half of you is allowed here? I think I was on a podcast the other day with two guys. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on my feed. And one of the hosts, Natty, asked a question about sex in the bedroom. And if a man were to ask for certain things sexually, would that make him lose respect in the eyes of his partner? And I know I can't speak for whether he was asking for himself or not, but because I speak to men all the time, there are things that men want. Christian men, Muslim men, men of religion, men who are not religious, atheists, whatever, men. Please understand, even if a man has a religion, a belief, a faith, it doesn't take away his manhood, right? And most of the time, it's not like they want to do these things or act out these things or have you live with these things. They just want to feel safe to show you who they are. You know? Like, he just wants to show you who he is and not feel judged or shamed or all these things. Because you can still say no. You can still say, I hear you, I see you, I understand you, this is what you're saying, this is why this means so much to you, but I don't have the capacity. I want to give that to you. I want to be of service to you in that way. I want to be there to meet your needs too. I just don't have the capacity. But it doesn't make you a man I no longer respect. You've still got my respect. You still have my honor. You still have my love, right? I cannot tell you how many men who long for this kind of acceptance. It's kind of like, this is a very mild example, but I can't find one that we may relate to right now. But you know, us as women, you meet a guy and you're looking all made up and the hair done and everything done and you look good. And he's like so in love with the way that you look. But you know you look that way because you spend 2 hours putting your makeup on, getting dressed, doing all the things. You know you look that way because you work so hard to look that way. But he's obsessed with the way you look. So, and you know that you're not going to go to bed with all this makeup on. You know you're not going to, you know that the only way he's going to keep, interested in you is if you wake up early in the morning before he wakes up and beat the face and comb the hair and lie down looking the way you looked last night. Right? And he can never knock on your door, and he can never surprise you on a day when you're just at home, and you can never have a lazy day because he's so in love with the look, the makeup, the look, the styling, he's so in love with that you can never ever be yourself. And it's not that you're not this girl, but you're also that other girl. You're also the girl that wakes up with bad breath, and you're also the girl that, looks plainer without her makeup, a little bit more herself, And you're also the girl that, has funny hair in the morning. You're that girl too, right? And there's a part in us as women that who wants a man who is beguiled by us when we're all dressed up and looking nice, but also equally as accepting and loving when we are looking raggedy, when we are waking up in the morning and we don't look so pretty. We want that full acceptance, right? We want that man who, when we are not so skinny and we're not going to the gym and we've put on that love fan, that a bit chubbier than we used, that he still thinks we're nice, he still wants to sleep with us, he still thinks we're the sexiest thing, right? We want that man, we crave it on a deep internal level. Now, if you're that woman and you're dating a guy and you're like, this guy would never accept my bare face, my bare face, my natural curls, my bloated belly, the stink, whatever. If you feel that, I'm only gonna be loved if I'm always laid and slayed. As long as I'm laid and slayed, he will love me, he will cherish me, he will buy me flowers. But when I'm raggedy and I'm on my period and I'm stinking, I don't want to leave bed, and I'm sick and I've got puke and I'm throwing up, and he's gonna run away, he's gonna desert me, we would have a hard time choosing that man, right? We would have a hard time making that arrangement permanent. True? Speak to me. Am I telling lies? Someone says fix your wig. Thank you. People are so amazingly rude. You have to have been doing this for 15 years to tolerate human nature. Okay. Am I telling the truth? Yeah. We wouldn't want that guy. We wouldn't choose that guy. So why would a man choose us if he feels that the only way, why would a man marry a woman who the only way she will love him and look at him like a king is if he's perfect, if he doesn't have a dark side, if he doesn't have certain desires? Why would a woman choose that man? Why would a man choose that woman? And that's where that personal growth comes in. And that part, we grow that part by accepting our own darkness that we won't look at. And that's what we do in the soulmate. That's what we do in the soulmate lux. That's what we work on within the soulmate process is, can you see your own darkness? Can you accept your own darkness? Because it's never the darkness in him that you're rejecting, it's the darkness within you. It's the shame story you carry. When a woman can totally 100% accept herself fully, completely, shame story, no story, she will be able to accept a man. And when a man can feel that in your energy. He will commit to you. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody says I got a nice voice. You see, this is why I love you girls, because somebody told me my wig is funny and the other person and somebody just told me I'm pretty. Thank you so much. And somebody says I love your voice. I adore you. Thank you. You see, somebody's always going to tear you down, but there's always somebody's going to lift you up, okay? Okay, so you get it, girls. I'm going to end there because I want to give you an opportunity to ask some questions. And maybe I can give you more clarity. Lovely Toby. Lovely to be. I think that's what it is. Beautiful. Somebody wants to come on camera? Woohoo! Let's see. Some girls. Okay, let me accept. Come on camera, girl. Unless you did that by accident, because some girls do that by accident. Should I save this live on Instagram? Because I usually save it on YouTube. I might save it on Instagram for 24 hours. So any questions, my loves? Ask away. Coach Nadine says, yes, save it for 24 hours. Okay, I'll save it for 24 hours on Instagram and it will be saved permanently on YouTube. No one's got questions for me. Yes, see, you got 24 hours to watch it on Instagram. I'm so glad we can do that for you. And for the rest of you, make sure you join Soulmate Lux. I can't wait to meet you. This is the year. I'm going to get as many of you married as possible. We're making it happen, okay? Let's see. So YouTube. I have a friend who called the other day about her husband of 20 years. She found out he was sending his ex-wife money and regained contact again with her. There are no children involved. Advice. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, let me quickly answer the YouTube one. Look, if your friend has gone back to his ex-wife, it's because there's a need that he had in his marriage that hasn't been met. It doesn't mean that your friend did anything wrong, because obviously I don't know the story, but there's a need the ex-wife met really well that your friend doesn't meet. Okay, so it's up to her to figure out what the need is, depending on how far everything has gone. But when you see anyone stepping out, we step out of our primary relationships to meet a need that is not being met, that a need that is important to us, maybe that we haven't communicated, maybe that we're ashamed to communicate, afraid to communicate, or communicated and was disregarded. So when all of those things are in play, often stepping out, whether it's male or female, has to do with meeting a need. And sometimes meeting that need looks like betrayal. And so it depends on what your friend wants. Does she want her relationship to work? If so, she needs to figure out what that need is and meet it if she is able to do so. And if she doesn't really want it, then she needs to end it. But it depends on how long they've been together, what their communication is like, and all the things. Unfortunately, it's never cookie cutter. I would say to your friend to book a call with one of the members of my team, and they will give her access to me if it's necessary. Okay, Instagram. Is it true that high value men don't post their girlfriends on social media for privacy? I've noticed that this is something that they do more. Yeah, I've noticed this lately. It never used to be the case, but it's the case now. Yeah. And I think that's okay. I think especially if he's a man who is, got a big profile. I think it's okay if she's been introduced to the key people in his life, if she is known by the family and she's very much integrated into his life privately. I think that's perfectly fine, because I think, the internet is a crazy place, and I remember posting something about my brother-in-law on Facebook, and before 24 hours, his inbox was full of women who were trying to steal him from my sister. They don't even know him. They don't even know my sister. They're like, the internet is a crazy place. So I think there is something to be said about keeping you private. But you got to look at the nature of the relationship. If there's a lot of game playing and foolishness going on, then you're just being hidden. But if you feel like you're integrated very much into his life, I think that's perfectly fine. Let's see, what else do we have? This was a question a bit earlier. Is being a challenge a key to success with men? Being a challenge, as long as you're not challenging. Men don't like challenging women, as in women that give them problem and just create obstacles and make things long and difficult and hard, they're not interested, okay? But if you are challenging as a woman with standards and boundaries, then that raises attraction for sure. Yeah, but it's really about authentic standards and authentic boundaries and consequences and standing on business on what you say and do, and just being super high quality. It will always, always, always serve you. So yeah, it might not make you successful with losers or men who are out here trying to waste your time. Oh, this is a good question, Joni. I'll come to you. I want to just get to YouTube in a minute. What do you think causes emotional detachment for both male and female partners that are already in a relationship? Multiple things, honestly. I feel that it's mindset, definitely mindset. I think that a lot of us have been trained to believe that the moment we're in a committed relationship, the effort stops, right? That the initial effort you put in the beginning no longer matters because you've been chosen. That's definitely one of the reasons. The second reason is we don't pivot together. We are evolving beings. The Chengi that you're seeing today will not be the Chengi 5 years from now, 6 years from now. You might even go back to this video and be like, oh, I remember Chengi used to say these things, and you know, it's so amazing how she's evolved, blah, 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 because we're evolving, growing beings. And the problem with relationships is a lot of people don't realize that when your partner is shifting, you should shift. When you see major growth patterns in your partner, they've been promoted at work, go and do something. Go and do something that grows you at the same level in whatever your heart wants to do. If they're finally going back to school, you go back and do something you've always wanted to do. You must grow together as a couple, otherwise you become increasingly irrelevant. But the biggest one is really unmet needs. I don't think we take the meeting of each other's needs as important. I really genuinely don't believe that we recognize that being in a relationship means I come half full and then you meet me with your half, right? But if I come half full and you stop meeting, you stop giving, you stop showing up for me the way that matters to me, okay, that I needed in this relationship, the one thing that made me connect to you, made me choose you, there's going to be a parting of ways. And so relationships are an art, they're a science, they are, you have to pay attention to your partner all the time. You've got to pay attention, and we stop paying attention, and that's usually what happens. So the affairs and all the other things that happen, they are fruit, not root. They're the fruit of bad relationshiping, right? They're the fruit of when we do relationship badly, then we have breakups, then we have detachment, then we have infidelity, then we have betrayal. So these things are fruit of the root of human beings not having the education that is necessary for relationships. And it's so funny to me because we've been educated on everything else except relationships. And why have we neglected our education in relationships is because it's so natural to come together and bond sexually, but that's nature. At work, we kind of think it's enough, right? Relationships are an art, they're a science. You have to be educated in relationships to do relationships well. If you don't do relationships well, why am I divorced? I didn't do relationship well, right? My ex-husband and I, we didn't do relationship well because we didn't even know there was such a thing as doing relationship well. We didn't know what the cost was to doing relationships well. So when you have somebody who's divorced, it's because they didn't do relationship well, right? Either one or both of them did not do relationship well. I can tell you for sure that I didn't know how to set boundaries in my marriage. I didn't know how to set standards in my marriage. I didn't know how to resolve conflict in my marriage. I didn't know any of it. I didn't even know there was a way to do any of it, right? So all hell freaking broke loose consistently at all times. We wore each other down, right? We destroyed each other's souls. And is it because two bad people came together? No. It's because ignorance costs, right? And we will invest in everything. We will, I watch women do PhDs and pay tons and tons of money, but they won't join Soulmate Lux and learn everything they need to learn in 6 months. 6 months. And you will learn everything you need to learn about men, about yourself, about relationships, how to do it well. You graduate out of there with a man and with sense and ability to do education, right? We won't do that, but we'll invest in a holiday, and that's okay, But I just feel like one day we will all wake up to it, and hopefully sooner rather than later. You're welcome. Okay, let's get to Joni. In this day and age, why do men feel that they can ask a woman to be supportive of them when just getting to know one another physically, mentally, and financially? Especially when a woman is not what? Okay. I don't understand this question actually. Are you asking why men are asking women to be supportive of them too soon in a relationship, too soon in an encounter? Because if you're asking why men are asking women to be supportive of them too soon, we haven't got to know each other well, if that's what you're saying, but they're asking for physical, mental, emotional support, then honestly that is not if that's early dating, that is not a man. That is not it may be a man as in the physiology, but he's not ready to be he's not in his masculinity. If a man is asking a woman early on to support him financially and to hold him up mentally, and he's not in his masculinity, the only thing a man needs from a woman, especially in early dating and throughout the relationship, is to refrain from creating chaos, being a calm, warm, inviting being that brings her softness into the equation. That is it, and that is all. Like anything else is a man who was not built himself up in his masculinity, who was not established himself in his manhood. I was talking about this on the No Strings podcast, and I think there's a reel where I talk about there's womanhood and femininity, there's manhood and masculinity. Masculinity and femininity is one conversation. Manhood and womanhood, another conversation. And we're trying to layer these energies on people who do not even understand what it is to be a woman. 95% of women don't even know what it is to be a woman, and 95% of men don't even know what it is to be a man. We are just aware of our genitalia, and that's about it, and our feelings. We're aware of our feelings about things, and we're aware that we live in these bodies and that we have different body parts, but we haven't been taught what womanhood is, and we're also being asked to put femininity on it, and vice versa. So when a man is coming out of the gate in a courtship setting and he is talking about I need support, of course men need support, but too early in the dating process, he's he's not built himself up. He has no idea of his manhood. You know, one of the guys I was coaching, I'm actually coaching at the moment, he was like, oh, you know, he was kind of having a moment. And I said to him, being a man is hard. It's hard. Being a man is hard. Being a man is pressurizing. It is the condition upon which you were built. That is why your body is built with testosterone. That's why you have more muscle mass. That's why you have more bone density. That's why your brains are the way that they are, because you're built for adversity. That's it's like a one of those diggers, right, complaining that the ground is hard. You're built for hard ground. And for him, it was like a mental shift. And he was like, you're so right. And I don't know why it never occurred to me. This guy's successful. He's built himself up. He's got everything going. But he was never mentored by men to understand that a man's life is hard. So he's been seeking comfort and ease emotionally through life and being disappointed because women cannot provide that for him. And he's getting upset. And it took me to say to him, and I thank God that I have the capacity to speak to men that way, because they respect me deeply and they love me and they trust me with their hearts. But I had to bring that home to him, that a man's life is hard. Do you realize that? It's supposed to be hard. Like, it's not anything to do with fairness. A man must be raised to understand that his life is hard and be equipped to penetrate and dig and fight and get out of this world what he wants and desires. If your sons don't have that in their heads, they'll become like girls. They will start craving and becoming more feminine. And I've trained, and my son knows that. I'm with my son, I'm like, life is hard. You're gonna have to work for everything. You're gonna have to earn everything. You're gonna have to compete. You're gonna have to penetrate. You're gonna have to be hard. You're gonna have to embrace hardness and find a woman that can provide you softness when you need to lay your head to rest, right? But my son understands that life is hard for a man. And it's not positive thinking, it's real reality, right? So when you're meeting men who are doing support me now, help me now, they're feminine coded, right? I hope I've answered that question. Let's see, what do we have here? Okay. I think this is from a guy. Why do some women wear a mask at the start of a relationship, then become polar opposite after committing? And I think somebody's answering in the comments. I don't think it's a woman thing. I think it's a human thing. I think to the depth that you accept yourself is the depth that you can show up authentically. I believe that many of us are raised in shame cultures. Many of us are raised to be ashamed. We're shamed into behaving right. And so we have developed a belief system that if I show up the way you need me to show up, men do that, women do that, then you will choose me. And then when you have chosen me, I can relax and show up as my true self. I don't think that human beings are out here thinking, right, who can I deceive today to make my day a brighter day, right? I don't think there are people who do that. We call them narcissists, we call them psychopaths, we call them sociopaths. And they make up a very small percentage of the human population, about 5 or 6%. So we're not talking about the whole human race, right? But the regular person, I genuinely think, is seeking acceptance outside of themselves. And this is why it's so important to do the work, right? Because for me, I had to do so much self-accepting. And I talk about that in Soulmate Lex. I talk about that in my groups. I talk about that one-to-one. I had to really, especially because I didn't just have African culture, which is its own thing, Zimbabwean culture. to contend with and all the norms and the expectations of a Zimbabwean woman, I also had religion on top of that. So I was packing a lot of shame, and it took a long time to work through self-acceptance and accept that there were things about myself that were true, in that they were real, but I had repressed them because I didn't want to not be seen. And as a result of the repression, I had made choices in my life, you know, that were not authentic or aligned with my true self, because I needed so badly to be accepted and not be shamed. So it took a lot of work, a lot of self-work, a lot of self-mastery, a lot of tears, a lot of crying, a lot of solitude, a lot of isolation, a lot of work to get to the place where I could accept myself. And the moment you can accept yourself, you can show up as you, because you know you're okay. A lot of the time, we're asking people to accept us. And if I'm asking you to accept me when I haven't accepted me, I'm only going to ask you to accept the parts of me that I've curated, my avatar that I've put together, that looks like me, sounds like me, but is more acceptable to who you are. And when you choose that, there's a part of me that's going to think, yeah, now we can come through and show ourselves who we are. So this is what I always say to people with dating, that we think that we're going to get the most truth and authenticity out of somebody if we make their life hard, if we test them. And, you know, if a man, you know, doesn't take a woman to a beautiful date and he just takes her to the walk in the park, he's going to figure out who she really is, right? There's that. And, you know, if she doesn't accept a walking date or a coffee date, then she's a gold digging cow, right? And they think, right, I'm going to make it hard for this woman, and then she's going to, you know, really show up as the authentic self. And women think, well, if I disrespect this man, roll my eye, kiss my teeth, make it hard, and tell him I don't take this and I don't take that, and I do all the things, he's going to show me who he is. But actually what we're doing is delaying that person's show up. They're not going to show up for us. When we make things hard in dating, we actually make it, we prolong the time that person is going to show up as their authentic self. What you actually need to do if you want to meet somebody is make it so comfortable for them. Because when we are comfortable, that means we're safe. When we're safe, we show up. That rude one, that person, that mask falls off because we feel safe. Safety is the only thing that causes the mask to drop. That's why I say to people, you're all dating wrong. You're dating wrong, right? Women need to show up as soft, sweet ladies who calm a man's nervous system. You will see him quicker. For sure, he will show up quicker. Because when somebody feels that they've been chosen, when somebody feels special, respected, and loved, they will show up as their true, authentic self. You can't fool me for more than 90 days. Let me tell you something. 60 days max, I've got your number. If I haven't already read you, God is going to give me a dream about you. You cannot fool me, because if you meet me, anyone who meets me and knows me in real life, I am such an easy person to get on with. I am so easy to get on with. I'm so loving. I'm so warm. And it allows me to see you. Okay? You can't pretend too long. If you are a difficult person and you are always making life hard for people, they will hide who they are, because we don't show up. That inner child will hide behind the sofa until that child feels safe. But if you become a safe environment and you create comfort, if a man takes a woman on a beautiful date where he's made an effort and all the things, she is going to show up quicker, right? I'm not saying on the first date, but she's going to show up quicker where she feels safe than where she feels she's being tested and all the things, right? She's not going to show up until she's got you. Then she's going to flip the script, right, on you, because getting you is her trigger for safety. Oh, now he's committed, I'm going to show up. But if you were showing yourself as a loving guy and giving her freedom to show up and be who she is, she wouldn't need the mask. The mask would drop way quicker, unless she's a sociopath. Absolutely. Why do you think some men come clean about their feelings for women? For a woman they love, yet they are not ready for a relationship. That's pretty much all I've discussed in this video. So I suggest you watch it from the beginning, because love and commitment are two different things for men, okay? A man can love you and not commit to you. And as women, we commit to who we love. Men commit to who makes sense. I have a guy friend right now who is dating someone. I know he doesn't love her, but she makes a lot of sense. And he's going to marry her because she makes a lot of sense. She's a very beautiful woman. She hasn't done anything particularly wrong, but I know he's not in love with her. But she makes sense. She makes sense to his world. She makes sense to his career. She makes sense as a potential mother of his kids. And I was like, don't you feel some kind of way about it? He's like, no, she respects me. That's all I need. And so when I'm talking to you girls, men won't choose to marry because they love you. What? Stop that. They'll make you their mistress because they love you. But especially a man with actually something to offer a woman, he's not choosing commitment based on what his feelings tell him. He is choosing commitment based on whether you make sense to his world, to his outcomes. Are you potentially a good mother to his kids? Do you have certain quality? Men are very methodical, very rational, very logical, very pedantic, very specific, very focused when they are looking for commitment, for sure. When they're not looking for commitment, any dream will do, any woman will do, anytime, anywhere, any place. Men's standards for women are basement when they're looking for fun. When they're looking for commitment, their standards shoot up, and too few women can meet those standards. Too few women hit those marks, which is why my girls, when they go out dating, they're instantly chosen because they're hitting all the cliff notes that men look for. Instantly they're chosen. Instantly, I'm constantly having conversations with, oh, he wants me to be committed, but I just started dating and I kind of like Jane, but this one is already asking me to be committed to him. This one is saying he wants me to only be like that. Those are what I call black swan problems, right? When you are educated and you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing and you are clear on what men need when it comes to commitment, you won't be coming here talking about he loves me but he won't marry me. We're together but he won't make me his girlfriend. That's because you're not hitting the, you understand? You have to make sense to a man's mind. Men are not women, okay? Just know that. I'm finding it difficult to date these days. I'm noticing men have become more relaxed in their approach and wanting women to take the lead, which I don't like. Are women supposed to do this? That's only because you're dating men that don't find you valuable. That's not because you're not valuable. It's because you're showing up in ways, okay, that men don't value. So when you see a man being lethargic, nonchalant, you're not the one. When you see a pattern, that's not just John, because there are men that will be nonchalant with me because I'm just not the one. Okay? And it's not because I'm half a woman, I didn't do the right things, I didn't hit there'll be that one guy who's just nonchalant, right? But I don't have a pattern of men that are nonchalant. That is not my pattern. My pattern is everybody's trying to make me be a girlfriend, trying to marry me in the first 2 weeks. Same thing with my girls, right? We have a pattern of constantly being chosen. But if you, or men coming up, I was just saying this afternoon, somebody was talking to me, I was like, I've never been asked for a coffee date. There's no man that I've ever met that has ever, even if he meets me on the streets, never been asked for low effort dates my whole entire life. Because there is a way that I show up in the world that makes a man know that if it's her I want, I'm going to have to put effort from the gate. This is not something that is given to a special type of women. These are things that you learn as a woman, right? To show up in the world in such a way that when a man meets you, speaks to you, 5 minutes into talking to you, he's already giving you high effort, high investment, because men are very quick to know the type of woman that a woman is, right? So what that is telling me is if you have a pattern, you're constantly meeting men who want to be chased, who are nonchalant, who are wanting you to make effort, you are the problem. You're the problem. And when I say you're the problem, I'm not saying you're broken, okay? I'm saying that you don't have the education, the training you need to show up in the world in such a way that men must make an effort or else. Right? I've never told a man, I don't go for coffee dates. I've never had to set those standards. Men just don't show up to me with that. Right? They just don't. Can you make sense to a man and have him love you a lot at the same time? Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. You can absolutely make sense and have a man love you. Absolutely. And can I say, if you make sense to a man, he's more likely to love you truly from the heart, right? Not all the time, because I did give you that thing, but I would say as women, you should pursue a man's respect, not his love. If you pursue a man's respect, he will give you his love. If you pursue a man's love, you may not get his respect, and his respect is what you need for him to commit. What's wrong with coffee dates? Absolutely nothing. You should go on them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with coffee dates. They're just low effort and low investment, which is great if you are multiple dating, duty dating. If you are dating a lot of guys, it's easier to have 3 coffee dates in a day than one dinner date or one brunch or one breakfast or something more high effort, right? Because you're going to have to show up. You're going to have to show up in many, many ways when there's a high effort date. Okay, and that's another thing as well. Some of us are terrible at dating. We're terrible at conversation. We're terrible at flirting. So actually a man inviting us to a high effort date like a dinner or something more, we would probably sabotage ourselves. We would sabotage ourselves. We would probably talk nonsense. We would be boring. So coffee dates are brilliant if you're not a woman who knows how to date, who knows how to flirt, who knows how to keep a man riveting, right? On dates with me, a man just feels like a god. He feels like a god, okay? Because he just feels like the strongest, most powerful, sexiest man in the room. Like I know how to make a man feel like all the things, right? So an hour or two, I got him from the gate, right? Some of us don't have those skills. So best you go for coffee dates. If you don't have those skills, go for coffee dates, go for shorter dates, go for walking dates, go for things where you can be in and out real quickly, because some of us break attraction that way. So there's nothing wrong with a coffee date. You should go on one. You're welcome. How soon is it okay to ask a man for money for something you need? After meeting him and he asks you to be his woman, or I just bring up the need and wait to see if he offers to take care of it, or just outright ask him. Okay, so this is a question of class. Okay, this is a question of class and intent. So if you're looking for a supporter, if you're looking for a man to take care of you and that's why you're dating, because you're looking for a provider, somebody to get you out of your problem, then you are never going to show up as a classy woman. And that's okay if you have no intention of dating high caliber men. Okay, so this whole asking for money thing is something that low value women who their lives are not together, they're messed up, they need a man to support them, pay their bills because their lives are messed up, and they need a sponsor, a blesser, a man to support them. And those women are signing up for a dynamic, and they're signing up for a relationship dynamic that often is not going to be of service to them. There's nothing in this world is for free. But most importantly, it's so unclassy. It's so, it's so not classy. And a man who is high caliber, he's gonna be turned off by you asking for money or asking for things. What you do is your third option. You bring up the need as something that may prevent you from seeing him that day. Or so if he wanted to see me on a day, and I might say something like, oh, unfortunately I can't make that day, even though it might be the one day that he can see me. I can't make that day because I have to speak to 10 clients, because I just have something that I need to take care of financially, so I need to attend to this because that financial situation is something that I need to take care of. So I won't be able to see you for another 4 weeks because I'm taking extra shifts, or I'm working extra hard. Then he's gonna decide whether he wants to support you, because he might want to see you. So you might be like, okay, what's the need? And then you can say what the need is, and then if he offers, then you say, oh, thank you, you didn't have to, that's so sweet. That's classier than asking for what you need. I know women do that, but I'm telling you, because I work with really high caliber men, my friends are high caliber men, the men I have worked with throughout my whole life are high caliber men, and I can tell you it is such a freaking turn off, like huge turn off, when a woman says, oh, can you help me with some money for, it's like, for them it's like ill. And it's, none of them are non-providers, all of them are providers, all of them are givers. It's just tasteless, it's classless. But you've got to figure out who you are and how you position yourself in the world, because I'm not going to judge you. You go figure out what you want to do. But it's, let's put it this way, it's not the black swan way. So I would present the need in the way that I've explained, and hopefully he is kind and generous enough to support you. And honestly, if you are behaving in high value ways and you're showing up in ways that matter to him as a man, it is his joy, it is his pleasure to be your hero. Like, he would love to serve you, he would love to give you, right? Men love the idea of being a woman's hero. They love the idea of coming to save the day, okay? But it can't be because your life is messed up. It can't be because you're just a mess. You can't pay your bills. Your life is messy, and now you want a subsidy from a man. And if a man participates in that, understand he's not doing it for free. Like, you better understand that he expects you to lay down when he tells you to lay down. Like, you are so giving away so much of your power. Yeah. Somebody's asking how much the full course is. I would comment Lux, okay, on any of my posts, and then you'll receive a link. Book a call, and we will look at your situation and your story, and one of my team will direct you and help you out with that, because we want to make sure we can help everybody as much as we can. So Margie says, recently started the course and it's amazing. Yes. We love having you, girl. Love, love, love. Girls, it's been such a pleasure. I can see that I don't have any more questions, so that's my time to say good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I will see you soon. I'll see you soon. Maybe, I'm not going to tell you when, but I will see you soon. And in the meantime, do take care of you. Love you. Bye.